So after listening over my last recording and listening to the render of the video, didn't turn out all that great. So this one should be higher quality, hopefully. And I didn't have too many pictures from the last one. Obviously, I wanted to have more pictures to show what I was looking at. I may add them in later videos so that you can actually see what was going on. But to continue on with the theme, I kind of had one location that I focused on, and I hope that I don't have to hope it doesn't come to that, but for the most part, I think I've cleared out of that one section. So the next situation would be extra cables laying around everywhere. So in different places, as I was rooting around for cables to move new cable around, or just helping to organize MDFs in other schools, there was just cables laying around everywhere. Extra Cat 5e, Cat 5 cable that had no reason to be there at all. And I think in some cases I heard that there was Cat 3 in some of the walls or ceilings, which was really interesting, which is untwisted pair cabling. So literally, you've got this old as dirt, belongs in a museum cat cable that's just hanging out in the school, and for no reason other than it was there and no one cleaned it out. So you've got a whole wad of cables on top of the rack for the high school, for example, and you've got different colors of it for who knows what reason, going to different things. So you've got pinks, blues, grays, whites, yellows, and I don't know if it was color coded that well, but looking at the patch cables as well, which, like I mentioned, is the super thin stuff, it was all in multiple colors too. And this might have been color coded, but it wasn't as organized and clean as it could have been. So the color code would make sense, except for the fact that the cables all dangled all over the place, and so they ended up tangling up as you had to change infrastructure here and there. And it was just ugly. I wish I had more pictures of it. So you've got different cables, probably for access points, speakers, and things like that. One of the other things that I noticed is this thin cable would often be used to hook up speakers and things like that throughout the school, because the former IT director loved the thin cable. It was super nice. And there's a lot of it for some of it is 100 feet of cable or whatever, just laying out doing nothing. Well, laying out, hooking up speakers and things like that. Just not the best thing for this situation. But the other thing that would happen as we've been exploring and doing things is you find the old cable laying around, of course, and then sometimes this thin cable is pinched under the speaker mounts, which you have to fling out these wings and then screw it down. And once you get it down tight enough, you pinch off the Ethernet cable pretty hard, and there's no way you're fixing it. The biggest downside with these cables is that they are unrepairable. You cannot just snip off the end and then put a new RJ45 on, because these are not standard cables, and the pairs, just you can't do anything with them at all because of how thin they are. Some of the access points are very, very bad. Really bad with the mounting job. To the point that old access point mounts were just left in the ceiling, and the mounts for these ubiquity access points just slapped on top of them. A sin unto itself that I just... And so now you've got a teetering access point on a ceiling that should be more secure, but isn't because someone was lazy and didn't care to properly read the directions or even look into the bag, because I've pulled down at least a handful of access points from hanging ceiling, and I've had to remount the bracket every time because someone was too lazy to properly put the bracket on, in spite of the hex... What is it? Yeah, the hex wrench being provided in the bag to unscrew the tiny screws in there to mount it properly and tightly onto the ceiling framing. So there was no reason that it did, and so you've literally got these access points hanging by the millimeters of bracket and prayers. There's not even any duct tape in there. It's just prayers and small sheer bits of metal, pretty much, rather than being properly secured. And so I've had to remount a fair handful of these access points, and it's just killed me every time because it's like I pull one down, it's like, darn it, couldn't he have done this right? But no. So that's been very interesting. Now, on top of that, there are certain areas where they had to drill into ceiling and drop cable through to connect up these access points. They use Cat 6E. Apparently, that's, Cat 6E, not Cat 6A, Cat 6E cable. Unshielded twisted pair. But the RJ45 they're using is a shielded RJ45, which really kills me because it's like, you didn't need that. Why did you do that? And there we are. So now as we've been replacing it, we've always put in proper Cat 6A keystones, Cat 6A shielded RJ45s, and then with the shielded Cat 6, and mind you, all the cable that we're running is shielded twisted pairs. So the Cat 6A is shielded twisted pair, and the Cat 6 is Cat 6 is shielded twisted pair. Granted, the Cat 6 RJ45s are unshielded, but for the most part, the Cat 6 runs to speakers, to access points, and to devices, whereas the Cat 6A is for connecting up MDFs to IDFs and switches, IDF switches to other switches, aggregated switches, and so on. But this mismatch of things going on just boggled my mind. And being as we're in an old school, and the IT infrastructure is, of course, the second thing that everybody thinks of when they're building things, we've got to drill holes through walls. And you can kind of make it look nice, cable management wise, but other than that, the holes in the walls look really tacky, and it's kind of horrible that we have to drill it in the first place. And I never caught this, but I might do this in a later one. But there are a couple things that happened just today that I should really get pictures of and then explain. But we have to drill holes through the wall next to doors and mostly doors, in order to route the cable through so that it's not hanging out under a door and being a safety hazard. And we've got to drill holes above doors to get it to the MDF, or in some cases maybe an IDF, less so an IDF now, since most of the drop ceiling is routed around, and we can generally route through holes that are already there. And it's shielded twisted pair, so we're less worried about the interference from everything running around it. But yeah, so these cables look really tacky going through, and so we create a lot of sawdust on top of it. But in the end, once they get to the MDF, it's pretty lickety split and easy to set up. So Techgore, what would be the word? Reparation. Yeah, Techgore reparation. So we can take it from looking like really bad to making it look not quite as bad, because we are fixing things up. And one of the, well, no, that can be saved for later. But yeah, so lots of holes, lots of drilling, and a lot of mistakes that are just really boggling my mind. Like, if there was a master class on how to do things wrong, and you wanted to show someone this is not how you do it, these schools are just the perfect example of how not to do things, and also masterclass and ways of doing it better. If you enjoyed the video, then like, comment, subscribe, feed the algorithm, boost the video up, share this video with your friends. If you found it informative or you just want to chat, I've got plenty of places in the description, Discord, Guilded, and what have you. Check those out, and I will see you guys in the next one.